What is up, everyone? We are back. Hey.
Hey.
What's up, Robyn? How you doing?
Ooh, pretty good. We're having a little snow shower here in Wyoming today. It's March.
Yes. What's up, everybody? This is Tea Time with Robyn. We are back. We had a little break. Sometimes you don't have much to talk about, and we decided to take a little break just to get, decompress, get our thoughts back in to where it needs to be. But we're back. We're back, and a lot has happened since we've been away. It's crazy. Josh, oh my goodness, won the MVP. We haven't spoke about it, so we're going to discuss that today, along with some other stuff that happened in the Buffalo Bills community. So, Robyn, give me your thoughts about Josh's MVP.
I was of the belief I'll believe it when I see it. I was very sure he wouldn't get it for quite a while. And then of course we heard rumblings like the day of or the day before, parents coming into town, that sort of thing. It sort of led me to believe that he was actually going to get it, and he did. I think it was very well deserved.
Right.
I love Lamar. I think either one of them would have been great MVP candidates. I could have even made a case to have them both
Mm-hmm.
be like co MVP, but I do think the honor is better when it's not shared because there's one most valuable player. And you and I have talked about this before. We felt, and I really do think it was correct, that Josh was more valuable to the Bills than Lamar was necessarily to the Ravens' success.
Right.
So the Bills without Josh Allen would have won 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills or the Ravens without Lamar, I don't know. They had Derrick Henry. You
Right.
know, you could have made a case for MVP in his own right. So I felt that it was a very well-deserved thing. It was so wonderful to see, and I couldn't help but be so happy because it was like full circle for me, having having known not known him personally, but having
Mm-hmm.
watched Josh Allen since he was in college and seeing the trajectory of his life and how it all came together and how the most overrated quarterback at the beginning of the season could turn out to be the most valuable player of that same season,
Right.
was quite pleasing, I might
Yeah.
say.
It was. It was. And I always say this. When it comes to your career, your football career, and trophies and all that hardware is what people remember you by. And I wanted Josh to have something so fans of any team or whatever will see not just numbers with Josh. It's like, oh, you remember Josh Allen? And you're like, oh, okay. Tell me what. But if you put the MVP in front of that, he was like, oh, okay. He has something, not just to walk away from his career to say, yeah, I played football, great and all, but also too, I won a MVP, trophy. I was a candidate, so I was excited for that point, part of it, for Josh to have that, because I think he deserves it. I think Josh was MVP prior to getting it this year. Um,
Yes.
and for him to come into a league to where people pointed him to be a tight end, said he doesn't have the accuracy. He's not, the quarterback that people are. There's still, like you said, still to this last season, people were still dialing Josh, and he's not that great. He's, people that say that players are trash. I'm a fan. I'm not gonna be a player is trash because I'm not playing football. So when people say that, it's just like, oh, can you go out there and do that? You know what I mean? So for me, I'm excited for Josh to have that MVP, and it just put more eyes on him. So
Yes.
congratulations to Josh and his family, and for the organization believing in Josh Allen and bringing him here, because we needed it as Bills fans. Jesus, we needed it. But moving on, a lot has happened with changings of the coaches. Robyn, talk to me about it.
Okay, so we haven't had any like huge name changes, with the exception of our special teams coordinator, which I'll talk about in a second. But
Okay, yeah, I want to talk about that. Yeah.
before we go to our special teams coordinator, I would like to talk a little bit about the Bills' new senior defensive assistant. And I went to the website to get these titles correct because I thought it was very interesting. Ryan Nielsen was brought on board. Ryan Nielsen has a very interesting history. He was responsible for bringing together the defensive line for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we know the Jaguars have had a good defensive line. They may be not a lot of things, but they have had a good defensive line for a while. Well, credit Ryan Nielsen to a large extent for that. The other team that he also put together a defensive line for was the New Orleans Saints. And so this man has experience of taking a defensive line and making it play at the very best that it possibly can. And that is definitely something that I think that we could use for the Buffalo Bills, because we've had how many defensive line coaches over the last few years? I think Sean McDermott has changed them out quite regularly.
Was it Washington, right? Wasn't it
Yes.
him?
Mm-hmm. But now Ryan Nielsen is not a defensive line coach. He's the senior defensive assistant, but his expertise is in defensive line. So my guess is that he's going to be overseeing a lot of the philosophy and how we train, how we think, how we move, all that sort of thing. I think he's going to bring a lot to the table.
So I heard this because he also is a guy, is more man defense, more man concepts. And there, I've seen where people say, thinking that we are more, maybe we're overreacting when it comes to the Bills changing up their philosophy and going more man. Now, we've also seen last year that the Bills has gone man. And bringing this guy, I don't care what nobody says, bringing this guy into me gives me a red flag of we might be doing more man or switching it up more. Not altogether being a man, team, but switching it up more. Like I said before, they did it last year. This one really intrigues me. I'm going to keep my eye on the Ryan Nielsen. I like that they brought him in for sure.
I do. I think he's going to be a positive addition, probably because he's also a wily veteran coach, and it won't hurt Bobby Babich to have some more wisdom on his side along those lines. Now, the next guy I want to talk about is Chris Tabor. He is the new special teams coordinator. And I think we talked about this briefly in our last segment, our last podcast. We were kind of scratching our heads about, well, Smiley, what happened to Smiley? I mean, McDermott came out and said in his end of season press row he was fully supportive.
This is what he said, because I was like, wait a minute, this came out of nowhere. So Sean McDermott was asked about Smiley. He's doing a great job. I'm confident that Coach Smiley is going to learn from these plays last year. Last year. But then he fired him.
Well, yeah, that was the thing. It was like the timing was kind of interesting. So what happened? I don't know what happened exactly behind the scenes, but I will say that Chris Tabor is a very, very interesting choice. And it wasn't like he was suddenly made available, because apparently he took a gap year in football last year. And so it wasn't like he just was suddenly made available and then they decided to go a different way with Smiley. I'm not sure how that all shook out, but I will say this. He's an excellent special teams coordinator, has had top 5 special teams units on a couple of different teams. The other thing that is nice about him, and let's go back and look at the history with McDermott and special team coaches, he recently has been promoting people from within
Mm-hmm.
rather than bringing somebody in that has veteran experience as a special teams coordinator. So this time it makes sense. He went out and went for best in breed.
Right.
And I think that's what they got because this guy is experienced. But here's one other little tidbit that I thought was interesting about him. When he was the special teams coordinator for the Bears, and I don't remember which head coach they fired because they fired so many lately,
Right.
that one of them that got fired, he became the interim head coach of the team. When the Bears fired one of their head coaches, he was the special teams coordinator, and he went up and took over as interim head coach. So what that says to me is that they trusted that guy enough to put the whole organization in his hands. That
Wow.
suggests to me that this guy has a pretty good background in terms of being organized and knowing what he's doing. So I thought that was an extremely good hire. Extremely good hire. Both of these are extremely good hires. And then the other thing that I want to bring up, it's a different coach, but they fired our strength and conditioning coordinator, Eric Ciano. And that was shocking to me because
he just had awards.
I was just going to say that. He just
2
won
years ago, right?
a couple of years ago
Yeah.
for being best. So I don't know what happened there, but when I went online to look at, okay, well, who's taking his place? All I see are assistant strength and conditioning coaches listed. I think Will Greenberg is going to be the strength and conditioning coach, but there isn't one that's listed.
They haven't, I want to say at the combine, I read it somewhere. They haven't hired anyone yet.
Oh, okay. So they're still looking. Well, that makes sense to me because everything I see 1, 2, 3, there's like 5 assistant strength and conditioning coaches, but I didn't see anybody who was the head of the well, that explains that. They must be really looking.
Well, I would on that I heard that the reason, take this loosely, guys. They didn't like the way that Keon Coleman came back. They didn't like how the Dalton Kincaid, all of the situation with him. And we're going to talk about that too, because you text, and maybe I don't know really what's going on with that, because you asked me, did I hear? And I'm like, I'm kind of puzzled of what was I supposed to hear? Something happened, but they didn't like the way he came back because apparently he played half of the season
much more injured than
yes.
what was led on to believe. That's what is being taken in quotes. So that may have led to them parting ways with Ciano, is the rehab component of this. Thank you, John. I was wondering, it's like, well, what are we waiting for? How long does it take to hire a strength and conditioning coach?
And we had one of the highest, like, what the freak happened in 2 years that
exactly. I'm still not quite, I'm queasy about the details.
You know what though? It might have been too the Matt Milano.
Oh.
You remember when Matt Milano tore, was it his pec?
Biceps.
Right.
His
and
biceps.
Then the guy they didn't know if he tore it or not. So they had Matt Milano down there doing push-ups.
Oh.
And you're like, if this guy did a tear, why are you having this guy going down doing push? I don't know. Yeah. Crazy. Okay. Didn't we hire Peliot? Was somebody else? I thought we hired another guy. No? Is that it? Paracello? No? Okay, no, maybe not. All right, cool.
I'm not sure. That's all I had on my list.
Okay, all right. Cool. So, moving on. Robyn?
We are going to move on.
Who's making this team? Who do you see? What players get let go? Who do you think?
I have 3.
Okay.
Von Miller, Rasul Douglas, and DeMar Hamlin.
So, okay, let's take them one by one. So DeMar Hamlin just hired an agent. I think DeMar's gone. Like, thank you. It's not funny. Brandon Beane was asked about DeMar Hamlin. He said if we can negotiate, and that's talk. That's the talk. If we could meet and negotiate and it's friendly, we'll love to have him back. But if not, I'll give him a hug and see him on his way. And I'm paraphrasing for sure. So I'm like, look, they are at the mindset right now, we need to get a Super Bowl in here because Josh Allen is not getting any younger. I'm sorry. Hamlin, bye. I'm over the experience. I love that you were here. Kudos to you. But I won a championship, and you're a backup. You're a backup. You had a starter because of what was going on in the roster, but you're no starter on the Buffalo Bills in 2025. Sorry. But
no, and the roster spot that you're taking, if you keep him as a backup, is a roster spot that you're taking from a player that you could draft.
Yes, and will be better than you.
Yes.
Guys coming out right now, and no offense, guys, safeties that's coming out right now is better than DeMar Hamlin right now.
Mm-hmm. Takes bad angles and is slow.
He does.
You can't teach that.
You can't teach that. So Vaughn, so I just read an article to where Vaughn wants to be a Buffalo Bill. Like, he wants to be a Bill. And I don't know if that looks like taking extra pay cuts or whatever the case may be, but he's going to have to in order for him to be a Buffalo Bill. And I guess they're talking about that.
I can give you a number. 8.5 million. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's how much cap relief the Bills will get if they cut Von Miller. If they release,
if it's a June cut, what is it? Isn't it more?
No, it's 8.5 million.
Okay.
They get 8.5 million if they cut him as is. If he's willing to restructure and take a pay cut, it would have to give the Bills a minimum of that much relief, or they won't do it.
Gotcha.
Okay, they're not gonna do it unless they can get 8.5 million at least cap relief. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure he does want to come back because he's trying to learn how to become a general manager. Mm-hmm. This is sort of his stepping stone.
And Brandon Beane has been teaching him.
Exactly. And Brandon Beane is his mentor. And so he might be willing to take that kind of a pay cut in order to stay, because I do think he values his relationship with Brandon Beane a lot.
And he's really good. He's really good in teaching the young guys. He really is.
Value to this team. And I think he absolutely could contribute, but he will have to take a pay cut to do that.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be a pay cut that is equal to the amount of cap relief that would be given if they release him. And I think it's possible to work around. Mm-hmm. Now, the other guy we haven't talked about is Rasul Douglas. What are your thoughts?
Bye. Bye. If you're not helping, you're out of here. Like, I'm.
You said bye.
Bye. He's 31, right? He's 31 right now. Okay, so what people are not talking about when it comes to this defense and how some of these people fell off, the defense changed. It went from Sean McDermott to Bobby Babich. And although I'm for Bobby Babich being the DC, also Bobby Babich, his rookie year, there was some hiccups. You've seen the DC from Sean McDermott of being aggressive, using stunts and doing all this other stuff, to where Bobby Babich is learning on the job. Not learning on the job, but he's a rookie. He's a rookie DC.
He was learning on the job, I think. Learning on the fly, right?
And you've seen maybe some of the defense fall off. But I'm done with I want somebody younger over there. I don't know who yet, but I don't know a rookie comes in here and plays across from Benford. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to get a vet in that role.
Are you off the Kyer Elam train?
Oh, Kyer. I don't know. You save nothing, you do nothing if you let him go. You don't save any money. He's still on a rookie contract, right? So if you trade him, okay. But I mean, you keep him. He's always not in a uniform anyway, so
keep him.
I don't even know, Kyer. I thought he was going to be one of those guys, man. So here's my question to you then. At what point do we start saying, hey, Brandon Beane, what's up? Your first two rounds are not all that great. You might have jumped when it came to Kyer because they took your guy, and I'm not going to say he was frantic. Oh my God. But
then
I don't think Kyer was the guy.
No, but to your point, they also haven't done a very good job of picking defensive linemen in the draft. And so it does make you wonder, and I'm just putting that thought form out there about Myles Garrett. So what if you have to give up 2 number ones for Myles Garrett?
Okay, this was not on our cards, but are you all in this year?
On Myles Garrett?
No, just period. Anything. Like, are you all in?
All into Super Bowl or bust?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I think so.
So here's my thing when it comes to the all-in thing. So the Rams did it, right?
It's risky.
It is risky. The Rams did it. They were all in. They put all their eggs, right? They're now, I don't want to say they're rebuilding, retooling, but they won they took the chance. They won the Super Bowl. And now, 2-3 years out, or maybe 2 years out, and they're rebounding from that. And they almost made the playoffs last year. Well, did they make the playoffs? I can't remember if they made the playoffs or not, because they were in that game with the Eagles. I can't remember if they made the playoffs or not. But
they did.
They're 2 years off. The Bills are not even, and I don't see Brandon Beane doing it because he's not a GM that does this. He is not an all-in type of a GM. But I just push your eggs there. Like, I don't want him to be so cautious sometimes to where
what
it's
I'm concerned about is if you end up with 2 number 1 picks that don't pan out when you could have had Myles Garrett. I'm more convinced than ever that going that route with Myles Garrett might be the best way to go because you seem to pick the right ones. How many more Boogie Bashams are we going to have?
But I get what you're saying, John. I don't know how that works out. Browns won't trade Myles Garrett, but I don't know if the Browns even have a choice because if Myles doesn't play, he doesn't play.
Yeah, depends on how much he's willing to hold out.
Right. I mean, look at the guy at the Jets. He was willing to hold out, and he held out for a minute.
That's on Reddick? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it might have bit him in his tail, but he did it.
He did it. Well, and there's an issue here in terms of the Browns because I could see Myles Garrett really digging in this situation because the Browns are so screwed up because of Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. They're in hell.
And they've been in hell for years, though.
Yes, exactly. But that might be even more reason why Myles Garrett is he's done. I think he's done. He does not want to play for Cleveland. I think he's made that perfectly clear.
No, they asked him for more money, and he was like, you cannot offer me, again, I'm paraphrasing, you can't offer me anything to stay here. I don't want to go to Campton. I don't want to leave Cleveland and go to Campton. I want something in between. I want a chance to win a championship. You should, if any organization, if a person comes to you and say, I don't want to come from whatever spot to go to Campton, I know I'm Campton. I know I got a gold jacket waiting for me. I know that. But I want more. And for an organization to stop that, shame on them. Shame on them.
Yeah, it's going to get ugly.
It is.
It's going to get ugly, and it's going to get interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Cleveland may not want to trade him, but again, they may not have any choice.
Right.
If he's really unhappy.
Yeah. I mean, we're already on here, free agencies this offseason. We talked about Myles Garrett. Hopefully, he gets to Buffalo. Everybody was talking about also the guy from the Rams. Not the Raiders. The Raiders. What's the guy's name for the Raiders?
Oh, Max Crosby.
He got a big
payday.
Big payday.
I'm not worried about. I wasn't too big on him anyway, only because he has a pretty good injury history, and I don't know. I just didn't have a sweet feeling about him, but I did want to mention a guy that Joe Marino talked about from Locked On Bills podcast, and I went back and looked at a little bit of this guy's film. Joshua Sweat.
Oh yeah, when he came out, everybody was hype on him. Yes.
When Joe Marino goes out of his way to say things the way he said them, in terms of, he was like, you just go and you put on his highlights and you look at this guy and tell me he's not the real deal. And he could probably be had for a whole lot less than Myles Garrett.
And he's big. He's a big guy. Big
dude. So he's a free agent that I kind of looked at and thought, that definitely has some legs to it. And then, you brought up DK Metcalf. I don't know about him. He might be very spendy as well.
Yeah, no, he wants a contract. Yeah.
He wants big money, but the guy who you might be able to get for a moderate contract, who I like, is Kirk Cousins.
The quarterback, Kirk Cousins?
There's a wide receiver, isn't there?
His name from the Jags?
Yeah.
Yes, it's Josh Allen's best friend. If anybody knows in the chat, please let us know. Let me look this up.
I'm having a brain fart at the moment.
I just seen it.
So you look for that, and I'll tell you some of my other guys. Another guy to look at if you want to talk about somebody at the corner position. You were talking about bringing somebody in that was a veteran. Give me some DJ Reed from the Jets.
I like that.
If they could sign him, I think that would be a really good signing.
I like that too.
And
Why
then
is he not showing up?
Now, this is because y'all know how obsessed I am with one technique.
Thank you. I just got it. Christopher. Yes. Christian Kirk.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I knew I screwed up the name somewhere.
It's cool. It's cool.
John, what would we do without you?
And thank you, Thomas, as well.
Brain is not working today. However, it is working for this one individual who I wanted before he was drafted, and the Rams got him, and now I want him back.
Who's that?
Ours in the first place, Bobby Brown the third, all 328 pounds of him. I wanted him when he was drafted by the Rams. So give me some Bobby Brown.
Okay. The one guy that I want, and this is a vet, might cost a little bit of money, but not a lot. We can afford him. The dude from the 49ers, Warren.
Charvarius Ward.
Ward, yes. Yep. I've wanted him since, like, when he came out. I wanted him to be a Buffalo Bill. Like,
you wanted him like I wanted Bobby Brown.
Right. So 49ers, California, wants something different. A lot of tragedy that happened in his life. He said he wants to get away from, the area. So a restart would be great with the Buffalo Bills. Like, I can't wait for next week. I really can't wait for next week. We might just do a pod next week.
And we have to give Brandon Beane his due. because this is where he does do a pretty good job.
He does.
Of filling in with free agents, moderately priced free agents, with a big splash signing here and there. Mm-hmm. But he does a good job in free agency, much better than he does in the first 2 rounds of the draft.
Yes. I mean, the only one he hit on was Josh Allen. So it's like, okay, Brandon, get rid of the first 2 rounds. We don't need a quarterback. You don't get wide receivers in the first round. Apparently, you just don't like them. Okay, get rid of them. And then, or the first round, because, whatever. And then go to the 3rd round where you're good. 4th, 5th, 6th, you're golden there.
Yes.
And yeah, let's just do that. Yes. I've seen this as well. I like this guy. I want him as a Buffalo Bills. He wants to be a Buffalo Bill. He's big. He's a hot molly that you guys like to call him. Hopefully he can be there in the 2nd round, because I really like
Joshua Farmer. Yep.
Yeah.
I watched the defensive lineman, and he looked impressive.
Yeah. John, I don't think he comes in as a starter, but hey, I don't know. Some things I wanted to talk to you about. Sean McDermott and Brandon Beam. Was it Sean McDermott? I can't remember who, but I think it was Sean, but it doesn't really matter. I'm asking you, on the offensive side of the ball, who do you think is our difference makers?
Now, what are you talking about? Game wrecking?
Game wreckers, difference. Yeah, game wreckers, difference makers, guys that can go in and they're dogs, and they're the ones on offense. Oh God. We know we got one. He's an MVP.
Well, yeah. I mean, that kind of goes without saying.
Right.
But really, outside of him, I don't know if we have a game wrecker.
No. Wow.
You're talking about a game wrecker. If we're talking about defining a game wrecker, I look at Derrick Henry as a game wrecker.
Well, okay, so offensive side, okay. Even in the O-line, you could do the O-line to make that can make a difference.
Give me the O-line. I'll talk to you. Give me Spencer Brown.
Gotcha.
He can be
maybe right. So I'll give you mine.
Yes.
So mine is, of course, Josh Allen,
right?
Deion Dawkins, Spencer Brown, James Cook. That's it. And I say I'll say Shakir with the question mark, because I think I think Shakir,
I think he could be a game wrecker. Yes.
Excuse me. I think Shakir, his potential is still not masked yet. There's a lot of unlocked potential there for Shakir. So
there is, but I think
it can be unlocked. Yes,
I think it can be unlocked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to go on defense?
So defense, who do you have? Because this might be short list.
Short list, but I did write a couple down. I think Rousseau can be a game wrecker.
Gregory Rousseau?
I do.
Really?
Yes, I do. I think that here's the thing, he's got to have help on the other side. And if the defensive line is performing well, he absolutely can be a game wrecker. Taron Johnson can be a game wrecker. Now, has he been a game wrecker like this past year? I'm a little worried.
You're gonna hate me.
No, go for it.
I am done.
You're done with Gregory Rousseau?
Taron Johnson.
Oh, you don't? Oh, no, you're not gonna hate me. I was just gonna finish saying. I was just gonna say, this past year, he did not look like himself to me. I think there was decline. I don't think it was injury related. I don't think it was anything. Yes, John Robert, you are right. Give me Christian Benford. I should have put him on the list.
But hold on, let's stay on the Taron Johnson. And the reason, and I'm giving them grace because of the changing of DC. I'm giving them on the defense a little bit of grace. Like a little bit of grace, because you came from, you're like, no, we're not giving grace. Get Grace out the window. Take her out. She's out the door. I'm just giving them a little because of Sean McDermott shown that he can be a very aggressive DC to where Bobby Babbage is still getting his feet wet. So I'm giving them a little bit of grace, just a little.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of like, where were you, Johnson? And he was hurt a little bit more. So
I think,
yeah.
I think he's peaked. I do.
I do have a guy in the draft. He's a rookie. Of course, he's a rookie. That is a Tyron Johnson type of a player. And we're going to talk about some of the guys that we like. And we're going to bring Dean back on because I really want to ask him some questions. I got a guy that I like that can be a replacement of Tyron Johnson. Not that I'm trying to replace him right now. Everybody calm down. I'm not trying to replace him. But I can see him playing the role. And he's a little bit stockier than Tyron.
That would help because Johnson, he's slight and he gets beat up.
Yeah, he does. It showed last year that he got beat up. Gregory Rousseau, I'm with you with that. I want to see Gregory Rousseau. When Gregory Rousseau and Von Miller, and when Von first came, you've seen the impact. You've seen it.
That's why with Myles Garrett, Rousseau.
Oh God, that would be. Oh, what? This Gregory Rousseau with nobody on the other side of the ball of the field reminds me of, what is his name? Oh my God, Houston. He's with Houston now. Jerry Hughes. Remind me of Jerry Hughes. Every time Jerry Hughes would go to great on the side, but never had nobody on the other side. So they're always, if he's pursuing on that side, the quarterback is just running to the other side.
I think of Aaron Schobel that way too.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron could have been incredible if he had help on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm not ready to give up on Gregory Rousseau. Everybody's ready to ship him out, trade him. Trade him.
Put somebody on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Trade AJ Epinesa.
Yeah.
Jair Elam.
Yeah. You like? I like Dorian Williams.
He could be a game wrecker, John.
He
can be a game wrecker. Absolutely right, John. I think he's going to be a game wrecker because I think he's going to see the field a lot more.
Yeah. So my two, I only have two. I had Ed Oliver and I forgot about. I got three. I forgot about Benford. So I got Ed Oliver, I got Bernard, and I got Benford.
Benford is right on. John's on it today.
Yeah.
More so than we are. John should be just sitting in my seat here today.
It's all good. John is our co-pilot. He's always
thank God for John
when it comes to certain things. So appreciate you, John.
Christian Kirk.
It's all good. It's a curse. It's all good. It's all good. We just seen Saquon get the big bucks. He was signed for 2 years, $41.2 million extension, makes him the highest paid running back in NFL history.
And who is the second happiest person after him?
Yeah, we all know it. His name is James freaking Cook. Give me your take on James Cook, because we haven't spoke about this. For someone who doesn't talk, he's been doing a lot of talking. A lot of talking this offseason. Give me your take, Robyn.
I think if James Cook would like to make Saquon Barkley money, then I think he needs to play Saquon Barkley's percentage of snaps. Because he's not an every down back by any stretch of the imagination. And with good reason, because James Cook cannot block worth a darn. And I love him to pieces. Don't get me wrong. I think he's terrific. And I would love to have them extend him. But it will have to be for a reasonable price, because overpaying running backs is not something that Brandon Beane has been known to do in the past. And so I would not expect that big contract is going to be worth $15 million. I don't know.
Okay, so we're having a lot of people say pay him, or not a lot of people. We got someone saying pay him. We got someone saying he doesn't block. Do I want James Cook gone? No. I think James Cook fits what the Buffalo Bills is trying to do in this offense. Josh Allen wants James Cook here. Hell, Brendan Bean and Sean McDermott wants James. They want him here. Like, you develop your guy and you want to see your guy get paid. Now, 15 million, I don't know if that's, I think 15 million is where it's at, but it's not like 15 million. Can we negotiate the 15 million? I think people are stuck on 15 million to where there's always incentives, there's this and there's that. I think they get it done. I don't want James Cook to leave.
I don't either.
I get there. We have Ray Davis. I understand that. But also, too, Ray Davis is going into his second year. It took James Cook a minute to get into where he's at right now. And this is, what, year 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if James Cook is left, are you okay with Ray Davis stepping into the role of a James Cook? I'm not.
Not yet. Not yet.
So I believe Brendan Bean will get this worked out. And if not, sad to see him go, but okay, he's gone.
But if he is gone,
okay, I like this.
They will have to find someone in free agency. Spot Track says 10.5 million. Now 10.5 million, I think, is doable.
Not even that. Give the man 12.
Give him 12, but 15.
And again, I'm not trying to be in this man's pocket because it is what it is. Get your money, young man. Get your money.
Oh, for real.
But when you say 15, that means you are saying I'm better than, what's the guy in the 49ers? Oh my God, why can't I think of the 49ers guy?
McCaffrey?
Thank you. So, okay, I have a question for the people in the comments. Where do you see James Cook? At what rate? Like, is he a top 5? Is he top 10? Let us know where you see James Cook. I think he's at least top 6, top 7. And you say he's top what, Robyn?
I think he's between 5 and 10.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't have a problem with, say, 7th best money. 12 with incentives is fair. John's right. I think that would be reasonable with incentives.
Top 5. Wow.
I don't know. There's some folks out there, but
so maybe. Let me ask you, do you in the comments, do you care that he can't block? Because he's removed on third downs. If Josh Allen is getting blitz, do you see Cook taking up that block? Because we've seen it. It's not great. And that's why he's removed on third downs. I think he went on Shannon Sharp's show and they were praising him, which he all deserves. But they were calling him a bell cow back. And I don't see James Cook
back.
He's not a bell cow back. He's not an every down back. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. This reminds me of Stephon Diggs, and I don't like it.
Well, I don't, in some ways, maybe a little, but I think that Diggs is far more devious and worse in the locker room, in terms of the locker room stuff. James Cook never talks.
Right.
So he doesn't cause problems. I think Diggs causes problems at times.
I see you're a James Cook stance, and I'm here for it. Listen. Nobody here wants James Cook gone.
Nope.
All we're saying that we don't think James Cook is an every down running back. That's it.
And that's okay.
It is, and I think James Cook is going to get paid. I don't think no one here wants to stop him getting his money. I don't think so.
No.
We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. It's going to be an interesting offseason, and Robyn and I will be here for it. Next week starts. Yes, periodically. Next week starts free agency, and we will see what happens. We probably will come on here. We'll let you know. But I'm excited about next week. I can't wait to see what Brandon Bean does.
I know, because like I said, I think he's better in free agency than he is in the first couple of rounds of the draft. He tends to fill out the needs part of our roster very nicely so that he can go best player available
in the draft where he's not stressing. And that's what you want. You want to plug in the free agency, and then in a draft, you're like, I'm not stressing. This guy's here. Let me get him. But that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys for the comments. Like, this feels good. We were away for a little bit. Feels good to talk to my girl Robyn about football and the Buffalo Bills. Always love. And you guys always coming in and giving us your best. And we appreciate
correct
that.
our mistakes, please.
Well, that's what they're here for, to correct us. And we love it.
God,
yes, for sure. Guys, thank you for tuning in. This is Tea Time with Robyn. We are out. We're on the Building Buffalo Network. Go over there and check out some amazing content over there Monday through Sunday. Peace, y'all. And always go Bills.